Hey people, how are you? This is Khaazra, and it's a little bit late. It's a Sunday night. It's actually NFL Sunday, and I know I should be watching the game, right? But I never really watch football. Maybe one or two Super Bowls in all of my years, and it was probably just a halftime game. So welcome to a journey to $1 billion in sales, and I don't really have any notes. So I thought I recorded this session called Take Action like a couple weeks ago, but I don't know where the heck I put it. So I'm recording it again. Even if I didn't record it, I'm recording it now. So I have one called part 2, which I think is key to listen to, especially if you're just starting out in business or if you care about how you spend your money. I suggest you watch that. And I'm speaking from personal experience, building a company from the ground up to over $65 million per month in sales revenue, and we've made a ton of mistakes. Trust me, a ton of mistakes. And I personally made a lot of mistakes even over the last year or so, just buying online courses, going to seminars and all kinds of mastermind programs, spending like crazy dough. And honestly, I can't say that it was all worth it. In some cases, it's all worth it whenever you learn. Anytime you learn, even if you learn what not to do, it's worth it. So let me correct that. But when I say worth it, meaning that I didn't get the ROI out of those meetings. In some cases, it was just to go and maybe hear someone talk, or just kind of like kick it, or maybe even meet some other entrepreneurs or something like that. So it wasn't always useful in every case. And so if you're a person who is, you're strapped for cash, if you have $10,000, right? If you have $10,000, and if you had the option, this is me in hindsight, if I had the option of investing that money into something that will produce me money, even if it's just buying freaking water bottles and buying them for 50 cents a piece and selling them for $2, right? I'm going with the water bottles. Or am I going to spend that $10,000 in just a mastermind program? I'm going with the water bottles. I know it may sound super stupid, and I may be using the wrong example by saying water bottles, but a product that I know that I can actually sell and get a return on. And then I would go to a mastermind program after I sold $10,000 of a particular product. Then I would turn around and go to a mastermind program to learn how to utilize how to expand whatever it is I'm doing. I remember I used to consult. I used to be a technology consultant. This is like when I worked on Wall Street. Right before I worked on Wall Street, but it was on Wall Street. And I remember this Asian guy telling me, he was like, the reason he didn't go to college right out of high school is because the information may not have made sense to him. It may not have been applicable. And I really agree with him on that, because if you think about it, a lot of people graduate from high school, they don't really know a whole lot, so they just go to college because they're told you need to go to college. Then when they finish college, they're like trying to figure out, well, what will I do now? And they take almost like any opportunity that becomes available. So many people, including myself, you end up doing things that you didn't even learn in school. So you spent $50,000 to $100,000, maybe $200,000, and with actual government loans, you probably end up paying $500,000 or whatever. But you end up spending all this money for something that you're not even going to use. Now, if you worked and you actually, even if you worked at Macy's or something like that, just as a retail salesperson, or if you worked at McDonald's flipping hamburgers, and maybe you thought of, as Kanye says, you had some motivation there or whatever. I forget what the term he uses. It was kind of funny at the time. But you have some motivation to, go higher and become a manager, and maybe even own McDonald's one day, or just to become a manager there so you can become a manager somewhere else, right? Once you have those people skills and management skills, you can pretty much transfer that to anywhere, whether it be McDonald's, Coca-Cola, or a financial firm, right? Dealing with people is like super, 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 super key. So, and if you did that and then went to college or to a mastermind seminar, you would get so much more out of it. A lot of people kind of like give college a bad name because they are teaching some archaic information in some cases, and the books that you pay $500 for all of a sudden become obsolete the very next semester, and they're only worth like $5. So I'm like, well, does that mean the information is only worth $5 as well? Doesn't quite make sense to me, So, but it's the same thing with some of the online courses and mastermind programs. if you really don't know and you haven't tried a lot of things out and you really don't know what you're doing, I don't think you should spend that kind of money to go to some of those high ticket programs, whether it be $2,000 or $10,000 or even $20,000, because in all the people that I know that go to these programs, I don't know anyone who's actually been able to do anything with it, because it takes so much trial and error to actually do something with it. So anyway, that's kind of like what Take Action Part 2 is about being wise and not just jumping, without really thinking methodically about what you're doing, planning it out, and just having a game plan. So this one, Take Action Part 1, is kind of like the opposite, because we recruit sales consultants, right? And the ones who come in knowing everything, I worked 10 years, I have 10 years sales experience, I work with the bank for 20 years or 8 years or 5 years, and I'm an expert salesperson. All those ones who claim, who already have the knowledge, who claim that, they are so great at what they've been doing for all these years, almost in 99% of the cases end up not being that great at all. And the ones that do become great, they have to go almost like reorder their thinking, change their whole paradigm. Just the way they think, they have to change it totally. Sometimes I remember we had a guy, this is a millennial guy, who came to us, and I think he said he had gone through Grant Cardone's training program, which I purchased that program myself. I didn't use it yet. I had watched at least a video or two, and I thought it was like really old, but some of his principles, I think, still stand true to this day. But anyway, the purpose of me mentioning it is that he actually went through that training and said that he had gone through the training every single morning at his particular company. I think he worked at some solar company or something like that. And when he went out to sell, the guy didn't sell anything, right? And if you have that level of training where you're being drilled every single day for a year or so, you should be firing on all cylinders, right? But he wasn't successful at it. And when he went out with someone who was actually someone who was much newer at sales than him, he saw so many flaws in what they were doing, not understanding that training program doesn't work everywhere. And it doesn't mean you're supposed to take every single aspect of it, verbatim. It's almost like someone reading a religious book and then taking it verbatim. They go out there and maybe they think they're gonna, live in a well, in what do they call it, Jonah's well, live in a well for 3 days. And this is no knock on religion, but you can't take everything literally, right? And he wasn't able to move forward with any success because he was so stuck in what he had been taught, right? And if he had just taken action, right? You already have sales skills, right? You already have somebody like myself who can help you, who has sold millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of products face to face, not online, face to face, right? And then you have the guy who he's watching, and he's, finding all these holes in the particular guy's whole way of doing things, not realizing that that's his style. There is no, you don't have to come out like a robot, and because you went through some training program of any kind. Even what I tell you, what I like to do is teach you how to train based upon your personality, so that you're not fake. You don't come off fake. You don't come off too corporate. You don't come off like you've been drilled to memorize every freaking single word that comes out of your mouth and to act that way. If you're a people person, I think it's even easier for you to become a salesperson, because if people who naturally love people also like listening to people. If you don't like listening to people, it's going to be tough for you. But if you like listening, I think you'll be great at it. And part of it is just listening. Whereas he thought that you should just come in, hey, where's my money sort of thing. Oops, I'm shaking the screen here. Come in, hey, listen, this is what I'm offering. This is how much it is. You want to do business. To me, I don't think that's the best way to do business. I think you can do it that way. And I think you can do it that way, especially if you just hardcore freaking advertising like crazy, because you don't have time to, deal with the small to medium-sized business or the one-on-ones and things like that. You're selling to the masses, which makes perfect sense. But when you're face-to-face with someone, it's super important to build rapport, right? So you have to take action in those cases. You can't this wasn't done, oh, I can't move forward. This wasn't done, oh, I can't move forward. This wasn't done, oh, I can't move forward. We have people who come from huge banks where they're basically robbing them of their income. And because it's not set up the same way with the same exact procedures, they get stuck. They literally get stuck. We have some people that come in and say, you know what? I need to read every piece of literature that you guys have, the marketing materials, right? Of course you want to read your agreements, but the marketing materials. Now I need to read who owns the company, how the company was started, where are the board members at, who's the CEO of the company, who is the CEO married to, just all these things that have nothing to do with you actually selling, like period, none whatsoever. A lot of times it's just actually taking action. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Like if we were on the basketball court, right? And I threw you a basketball, would you ask me how to shoot it? Or would you just try to shoot it? You would try to shoot the basketball. You would eventually figure out how to properly shoot, because after doing it for so many times, you realize, well, it didn't go in that way. All right, it didn't go in that way. It didn't go in that way. But I found a way where it goes in most of the time. And then when someone else comes along to help you, it makes more sense to you. Now, if I had to just start it from scratch, right? And that's why it's so much easier to work with people who come with an open mind, because if you come with an open mind, hey, shoot the basketball. Boom, all right, I miss. Shoot it again. Boom, I miss. All right, boom. Now, when you shoot the basketball, I want you to use rotation, right? You use rotation, right? I like playing basketball, obviously, right? You use rotation. It makes sense to you. But when you come, let's say you come and you already feel like you're a professional, even though you're not a professional, based upon your results. If someone tries to tell you something, you're like, nah, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it, because this is how I was taught how to do it. I've been doing this for 10 years, even though you only been scoring freaking 2 points a game, right? You've been playing every game forever, and you only score 2 points, and no one can tell you anything. Well, a lot of salespeople are like that too. They have all this extra information that they've been like just shoved down their throat, and they feel like, this is the way to do it. And it prevents them from doing something because it's not what they're used to. And again, take action. I recall my business partner and I, we started off like a few years ago, and I mean, you're talking about really not knowing anything, and we were taken advantage of. You best believe that. Definitely taken advantage of, for freaking sure. But we've learned now. But if we had a thought to ourselves, you know what? Let's not do it because we don't know this and I don't know this. I remember telling my business partner, like, hey man, he wasn't my partner at the time. I said, hey man, listen, we need to there's so many people robbing people, meaning they were robbing the sales consultants, and just taking advantage of us and taking advantage of our clients that we were bringing in, and we would ask them about it. They give us some BS answer, right? So we were like, we need to branch the freak out and just do this on our own. And I recall him saying like, well, I don't know this, I don't know that. And I was like, but that's okay, we can learn it. And even once we started learning it, I realized that I freaking hate back office stuff. Like operational, just setting up a lot of things, that's not really my thing. I'll do it, and of course I can find the holes in it when it doesn't work right, because it's not hard to figure out 1 + 1 should be 2, right? So that part's not difficult, but just to run that whole stuff and logging into all these different screens and just a whole bunch of stuff that I don't like doing. Even with that, I realized that, that's not my forte. Let that be handled by him or someone else. Let me do the other thing. And then, and if you look at us today, we started off knowing nothing whatsoever, to the point where we are today. We're just right up under $1 billion per year in sales. And I think about myself. I started off volunteering I moved to Orlando, Florida from New Jersey, right? And I started off I couldn't find a job here. And I had worked on Wall Street before, not as like, some big, millionaire or anything like that, who's like a trader or something like that, or a stockbroker or whatever, nothing like that. I was like a liaison between technology and finance, totally non-sales. So I moved to Florida, and I was sucking air because there was nothing, there was no money being made by me. And I remember volunteering for a school, a freaking elementary school in the hood, right? I'm gonna say it, in the hood. And I did that for about maybe 4 or 5 months or so. My chair is so squeaky, right? I did that for about 4 or 5 months. I got another chair. 4 or 5 months, literally. And they brought me on board, and then I think I was making like $8 to $10 an hour. Then the school hired me because I was working with a non-for-profit organization. Then the school hired me, and then I think after about 4 years, I got up to maybe $32,000, $38,000 per year before taxes. Got tired of that, saw that there was no long-term future in that, and I basically bought a ticket, flew out to freaking California, and I started in a sales position, 100% commission at that, 100% commission, right? That's pretty tough. With 2 small children, as the only person in the home producing income. So if I had a thought and triple my income within the first 8 months, quadrupled it the very next year, and it's been history ever since then. Now, if I had a thought about how much I did not know, I mean, I would have been done. I would have never started in sales. I would have been so afraid, worrying about, having to do this, do this, do this, do that. So the whole point is you have to take action. You have no idea where your actions can take you. Like even shooting this freaking video, as simple as it may be, the lighting is bad, to be perfectly honest with you. My head is freaking shining. I have some lights around here, but they're freaking headaches sometimes to deal with. So I'll fix that in the very near future. But for now, I'm just taking action. And sometimes you have to do that. This is not costing me a lot of money to freaking hit the freaking record button on the camera. How much does that cost? It doesn't cost me to talk and share my experiences with you and hopefully give you something that you can benefit from. It doesn't cost anything. Now, this doesn't cost me, this is not like a $10,000 seminar or a $20,000 seminar to do that, right? So if I had to go pay $20,000 for a video seminar, I would have second thoughts on that because I don't know enough about video seminars to even freaking ask too many intelligent questions besides lighting, and it's not my thing anyway. It's really not. So remember, take action, but also when you take action or when you come across an opportunity, think about what you're doing, because one of the things that's just as important, more important than money, way more important than money, is your time. And that is what we cannot squander around. I've squandered enough of my time around just freaking watching TV and just entertainment or not doing anything at all productive. So the one thing that I try to guard myself with, I'd rather just be sitting around looking at my wife and just enjoying a quality moment than to just totally go and spend $20,000 somewhere burning my time, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay? So with that, take care. This is Khaazra. Thank you for listening to a journey to $1 billion in sales per year. That is, remember, per year. You can find me on www.khaazra.com. That's www.khaazra.com. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.